On August 14th, 2018, Officer David Chen watched himself die on a security camera, 30 minutes before it happened. The Pinewood County Sheriff's Department sits on the edge of rural Minnesota, surrounded by cornfields and long, empty roads. It's the kind of place where nothing much happens after midnight. Officers pass their night shifts monitoring cameras, filing paperwork, and waiting for dawn. But in August 2018, something changed. The security system began showing events that hadn't occurred yet. It started small. On August 8th, Deputy Lisa Hartman reviewed footage from the break room camera at 11:47 p.m. The recording showed Officer Jim Rhodes entering the room, pouring coffee, and checking his phone. Standard stuff. Except Jim Rhodes was standing directly beside her when she watched it. He wouldn't enter that break room until 12:03 a.m., 16 minutes later. When midnight passed and Rhodes did walk into the break room, he performed every action exactly as the camera had already recorded. Same movements, same phone check. He even poured his coffee with the identical hesitation before adding sugar. Over the next week, it happened again and again. The system recorded the overnight shift. Sergeant locking up at 6 a.m., 4 hours before dawn. It captured a domestic disturbance call, complete with shouting and broken furniture, 6 hours before dispatch received the emergency call from that address. The officers began checking the feeds compulsively. They'd watched themselves walking down hallways they hadn't walked yet, answering phones that hadn't rung, having conversations that hadn't happened. Then came August 14th. Officer David Chen sat down at 2:47 a.m. to review interrogation room footage. The room was supposed to be empty, locked since the previous afternoon. But it wasn't empty on the screen. The timestamp read 3:15 a.m., 28 minutes in the future. And there, in grainy black and white, David Chen watched himself walk into Center Interrogation Room 3. On camera, future Chen moved to the far corner and stood perfectly still, staring directly up at the camera. For several seconds, he didn't move. Then his mouth opened, as if screaming, but the footage had no audio. His hands went to his throat. Present. Chen, watching this at 2:47 a.m., felt his blood turn cold. On screen, future Chen collapsed to the floor and stopped moving. The recording continued for 3 more minutes. Then, at timestamp 3:18 a.m., the door opened and present Chen walked into frame. He knelt beside his own body. Officer Chen sat paralyzed at the monitoring station. He had 28 minutes before this would happen. He could simply not go to Interrogation Room 3. He could change this. But department regulations required all camera alerts to be investigated in person. And at 3:13 a.m., dispatch radioed him. Chen, we've got a motion alert in Interrogation Room 3. It's supposed to be locked. Go check it out. He stared at the radio, at the monitor, at the clock. 3:14 a.m. At 3:15 a.m., Officer David Chen walked down the corridor toward Interrogation Room 3. He unlocked the door, pushed it open, and stepped inside. What happened next was never officially recorded. The interrogation room's camera malfunctioned at exactly 3:15 a.m., displaying only static for 4 minutes, but the hallway camera continued recording. At 3:18 a.m. it captured Officer Chen stumbling out of the room, gasping, clutching his throat. He survived. Medics found no injuries, no physical cause for his distress, just severe psychological trauma. Chen refused to discuss what he experienced in that room. He retired from the force 3 days later. The Pinewood County Sheriff's Department replaced their entire security system 1 month later. But sometimes, late at night, officers still check the timestamps. just to make sure they're watching the present and not their future.